Hello, how you doing? Hope you had a wonderful bank holiday Monday. I'm finally back after the vlog video. Danny Dyer. So yeah, last week I did quite a few trades into one of my local record stores, and I managed to get myself some Cure records for a very, very reasonable price indeed. And the Cure are a band which I'm just getting really into at the moment, really. So yeah, what happened was I went in there a couple of times during the week. I went in on the Monday and I traded, I gave the guy in the shop a bag of CDs which I had acquired through many charity shops, many sort of 50 pence pickups, just ones that I picked up but didn't really want. So there was things like Taylor Swift and Rod Stewart, but luckily for me this really worked in my favour. There were a bunch of CDs in there which turned out to be really desirable, which I really didn't expect, and ones that I didn't want. Like, these are CDs which were worth like £15, which I really didn't realise. So I managed to get a huge store credit for these very cheap CDs that I had purchased, which was just incredible thing. And basically I just got really lucky. So I'm going to include a clip at the end of this video showing the bag that I traded. But the funny thing with it is that he didn't want half of what was in the bag, and I found that very strange because some of the titles that he turned down that he didn't want to buy from me to trade were really good titles, such as The Score by the Fugees and Joshua Tree U2, other titles which could have sold quite easily. More cheaper as well. So some of these titles which he rejected, which I had to bring back home again, I think I'm going to give to my friends Asa and Ollie. So anyway, the guy had probably about 7 or 8 CDs off of me that he took out the bag. He gave me a £32 store credit. I instantly found this. This is Conography by The Cure. I'm not going to say the actual title of the album because YouTube will either take it down or the UK government will probably come to my house and confiscate the record and force me to give ID to listen to it, which I don't want to do. So yeah, we're going to refer to this as Conography, as in cornography, Cornhub, corn.
But what if I want to have a wangle? This
was a £33 record. So, I mean, effectively, I paid probably about £3 for this, which is ridiculous because this is quite a desirable record. Original pressing. This is probably my second favourite album by The Cure, only second to the great Disintegration. I think this is the pinnacle of the early Cure sound. It's got a very dark sound, a very nihilistic sort of darker approach. I think the recording of this album was a little bit chaotic with the band kind of taking a lot of drugs and stuff. They recorded it at Rack Studios, which was like an old 70s studio ran by Mickey Most, and I got to go there in 2019 and it was pretty much the same then as it was when it opened up, so it would have been like that when they recorded this. So it's quite special to have actually been there, but it was quite a chaotic recording time really for the band because I think they were probably quite sleep deprived. Robert Smith was severely depressed when he wrote this. I mean, you can tell by listening to it. It's got a very bleak sound, but I don't really get those feelings when I listen to it. When I listen to it, I just get, I just feel, it just feels great because I'm listening to a great Cure record. But it's nice to have this original pressing, and I will talk about these records a lot more extensively because I want to do a Cure collection video where I show all of the Cure records in my vinyl collection, and I go a lot more in detail with the the individual songs and the making of the album and stuff. So because this is such a great album, this is my second copy of it. This is my second copy of Conography. Both original pressings, both quite similar condition, like good but not perfect. Funnily enough, both pressings have like sort of scratched edges as if they were scratched by a cat. Sort of slightly damaged scratched edges. But yeah, good to have two of them because it's quite a special record, really. When I was looking at that Cure album, it was in the new bin in the record store. So they have like a bin for all of the latest arrivals that have come into the shop. So I often go to that because I find that the most exciting. And they had loads of Cure. most of the 80s classic albums, really, many of which I already own. But yeah, when I was looking through and I decided to pick up Chronography, I also spotted this one. This is Three Ordinary Boys, their first album. And this is the original pressing from the UK. This was quite expensive originally. He wanted £49 for this copy, but it is a really nice condition copy. You know, I would describe it as a near mint copy. You know, fresh from 1979. It's virtually a new record, to be honest. So yeah, effectively what happened here is that I picked this up and I picked up another record, both very expensive, but I, again, went into the store and traded a bunch of stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't film this stuff, but there was some good stuff in there. I traded Mixing Colours by Roger Eno and Brian Eno, which is an ambient record, an ambient piano record from like 2018. I trade a Paul McCartney DVD, Liverpool Auditorium, which I got in the charity shop. I traded a Green Day Live Blu-ray, which I've shown on the channel, which I didn't really like because the vocals were auto-tuned. And I traded a movie for Nick Cage and the Bad Seeds, or Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, I should say. And what else did I trade? And then just a bunch of charity shop CDs. Also that David Bowie CD that I showed from Hey On Why. So yeah, I traded all that, got a £40 store credit, and I decided to buy these two records, and together they came up to £56, so £33 each. So £33 for this record's pretty damn good, to be honest. It's got a very punk rock aesthetic to it. So this record, I think, is quite unique in The Cure's discography. We all know The Cure for having one of the most celebrated discographies in modern rock, you know, especially in 80s rock. But, you know, everybody knows the two main sounds of The Cure. You know, you have the dark, nihilistic, gothic sound of things like Chronography and Faith. But you also have the pop side, like Friday I'm in Love, Just Like Heaven, and albums like Head on the Door. So you have the sort of brighter side and the darker side. But then there's another side, and it's their original sound, and it's this, you know, punk rock aesthetic that they had on this first album. This doesn't sound like any other Cure record, in my opinion. It's got a very unique sound to its own, you know, album, which is separate from all their other stuff. For me, this is far more, you know, this sounds more like the Buzzcocks than it does The Cure, really. You know, this is like The Cure before they were The Cure. You know, apparently Wire were a big inspiration on this first album. It's before they really started going in their own direction and had more of a sound which was just typical of the times, typical of the punk rock times. But this album, Robert Smith didn't have anywhere near as much creative control over this album as he did with later albums, pretty much all of their later albums. You know, this was, I suppose he was very young at the time, these were new bands, so the producer decided what songs went on the album and decided the album cover. There's a really strange cover on here of Foxy Lady by Jimi Hendrix, really odd. I think it was just thrown together in like spontaneously kind of thing. But yeah, with all that considered, you know, I think it's a really good album. It's a really enjoyable album. I really enjoy the song 10:15 Saturday Night. And of course you've got Fire in Cairo, which is another great belter. Yeah, apparently it's this limited edition special price. So yeah, this can be a very expensive record, so to get it for 33 in great condition, I thought was pretty good. Obviously it's not as straightforward as just getting it for 33, you know. I had to trade a bunch of stuff for that, but the stuff I traded I never really paid too much for, so it all kind of works out. Yeah, the Cure collection's really coming on now. Probably got most of the titles I need. So yeah, with that, I said I got two records in this deal for £33 each, and the other one was the Pill Sessions by The Cure. So I've wanted to get one of these Pill Sessions records for years. I've wanted to get, you know, like the Smiths one. They did one of these. Joy Division and New Order did one. I think there's a Syd Barrett one kicking about. I think these were all issued in the late 80s. Where they were celebrating the John Peel sessions, and they were 45 RPM records, got about 4 songs each. This one in particular has Killing an Arab, love that song, 10:15 Saturday Night, one of my favourites. Fire in Cairo, as I just mentioned, and Boys Don't Cry, their most popular song. And they're nice, sort of slightly more live, slightly more raw versions of the songs. Obviously produced and recorded at Radio 1, I suppose. There's a little logo down the bottom of Radio 1. I suppose this is back when Radio 1 actually played good music, unlike now. It's because it's all shit now. This has got a textured sleeve on it. Feels almost like an old Victorian thing. Like it's got a really old feel about it, like a proper textured sort of canvas sleeve, I would describe it as. Sort of special metallic finish limited edition sleeve. This is one of a series of original recordings made for the John Peel Show on Radio 1. Strange Fruit Records is grateful for the cooperation of the artists, record companies, music publishers, and of course Peely. His producer John Waters. I think John Waters is quite famous on his own. Released and arranged by BBC Records and Tapes, 1987. So that was when the press was done. Yeah, and we of course have a huge list of other titles. So New Order, The Damned, that would be very, very cool one to get. Madness, who else we got on here? The Specials, The Slits, Billy Bragg, T-Rex, Tubeway Army, Joy Division. So yeah, it would be nice to find a few of those. This was also available on compact disc and compact chrome cassette. I think a lot of the Cure stuff was on chrome cassette back in the day. So yeah, I think I got a good deal here. I really do. And the man in the shop kind of joked to me when I bought these. He kind of said, like, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do expensive record shopping. Just trade in a bunch of stuff. Sort of softens the blow, I suppose. So, without further ado, I'll show you the clip of some of the bits and pieces that I traded. So, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
So this is the bag of things I'm trading into Olaf's record store. As you can see, I'm using a Waitrose bag because I'm quite a sophisticated lad. But, I don't know if he'll actually take all of these things, but we'll have to see. Now 1989, a compilation of hits from that year. Refugee, the Fugees' Refugee Camp. Oh, we're out of focus here. That's not great. There we go. Red Hot Special Offer, $10.99. $10.99 in, say, the 90s. How much was that? Probably about £18 or something back then, so pretty expensive. You got something by The Replacements. Not really a fan. This is quite cool. This is Spinal Tap. Hang on, here we go. This is a Spinal Tap. I don't know if this is the original soundtrack for Spinal Tap. They've got that new movie coming out, Spinal Tap 2. But this has got like pop-outs as part of it. Like Action Men or something. So yeah, you can see if you'll want to buy this one. It's actually quite nice, actually. I quite like that. It's a bit different, it's a bit torn. But yeah, we'll see. Mike Oldfield, QE2, yeah, not really bothered. Another Ray of Light, which I already own on CD and on vinyl. What else we got? We got Rap Attack, which I own on vinyl but don't need on the CD. This is a great compilation, actually. I'm trying to find things I haven't already shown on the channel. Pretenders. We've got a bit of Roddy. Anyone here like a bit of Roddy? Roddy Stewart. These are actually really nice CD reissues, actually, funny enough. The presentation's actually really nice on them. I'm hoping he'll want to buy these. But I can't say that I care for Rod Stewart, I'm afraid. He's just not only quite boring music, but I'm kind of convinced that he's actually not a very good singer. Like, he's got this sort of nasally kind of voice. It's not for me. This other record by him, which I think I had on vinyl at one point and traded it. Like, just found it cheap and sold it, you know. We got Best of David Bowie. Funnily enough, this was the compilation that first exposed me to the work of David Bowie. I remember my mum having this in the car when I was about 12 years old, and I really liked it. This is first of 3 compilations that they put out in about 1997, spanning his whole career up to that point. We've got a copy here of Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles. The reason why I'm not keeping this is because I have the remix vinyl of it, and I much prefer it. I know it's a bit controversial. Some people think it's sacrilege to remix the Beatles. I personally don't really feel that way. I think the new mix of it really improves the sound and brings it up to date and just gives it a far more effective sound, which is what you want for music which is so affecting. Whereas this is a 90s CD copy of the original mix of the album, and I just don't care enough to keep this. Sgt. Pepper isn't my personal favourite Beatles record, so I'm happy to just have one copy of that one in particular. Here we have Music for Films Volume 3, Brian Eno. I'm trading this because I'm just not that bothered about it. There's some nice ambient moments, but it's just not his best record by any means. But you've got a bit of an all-star cast on here with John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin, Harold Budd, frequent collaborator of Eno. You've got Laraji on there. He did an album with him. Michael Brook, Daniel Lamoire. So a lot of the usual sort of guys that Eno worked with around that time coming in on this record. This is really cool. Doctor Who Series 3 soundtrack. The music that Murray Gold composed for Doctor Who is absolutely legendary, and it's incredibly beautiful, emotive, recognisable thematic music. It really did make the show. I think one of the main reasons why the show was so successful when it came back in 2005 was because of Murray Gold. Because his music is so special and so unique. This is a spare copy I've got. I have a slightly nicer copy. Next up we have a bit of Queen with Live Killers. Yeah, just live record from Queen, I suppose. Don't think I'm crazy enough of a fan to keep a live record by them, but who knows, maybe it is good, I don't know. We have another duplicate. We have the Mamas and the Papas Greatest Hits. This is a friggin' awesome album. I love this. I have 2 copies of it. These guys just not only did such beautiful harmonies, but the guy who turned out to be a bit of a wrong un, sadly, wrote such brilliant songs, and they're one of the greatest 60s groups, really, at least in terms of singles. This is probably something that I just picked up for trade because it had a high, a high profit margin, even though it's not very popular. We have a bit of Brucey Springsteen. Probably waiting to buy this on vinyl, to be honest. And I think this is some sort of budget CD edition of it. Taylor Swift, bit of Tay-Tay, if you're into her. 1989. This is the re-recorded version, Taylor's version. To be honest, if I'm being like, the thing with music, right, is that usually it has like a special quality the first time you record it, and if you try to re-record it, you can never recapture that. And ironically, she's done that for like so many of her albums. This is a American version. Oh, 21 tracks on it, blimey. So you get a lot of stuff. You got some From the Vault material there. I can't say I'm a Taylor Swift fan. Really not for me. Very Americanized. Sometimes I don't understand how she's so popular, because like, it's, to me, a lot of it just sounds like music for like 9-year-old girls, and yet she's so colossally popular, and it's like, you know, like bloody all these men like it and stuff, and I'm like, really? Not for me. Here we have a bit of Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. I tried listening to this. I thought it was okay. I thought it had its moments, but not really enough to keep it. I do remember vividly Noel Gallagher and the High Flying Birds being played a lot on XFM, or Radio X as it's now known. I remember driving around with my mum in the car when I was a teenager, and then playing Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds a lot. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of his voice. I think they've maybe like melodymed it a bit as well, actually, so to make it sound all in tune and stuff, which I'm not a fan of. This was in the vlog, the Now. I don't rate this album enough to keep it. It's got 3 or 4 good songs on it, but I really don't. I think the production's really bad. It's just like all new Gorillaz, really lame sounds, no break beats to be found, you know, not like the first 2 albums. Here we have a bit of Dave Davies, who is of course the younger brother of the legendary songwriter Ray Davies, and he's probably a little bit overshadowed by his legendary songwriting brother, who he looks exactly like. But I listened to this compilation, and some of it was a little bit no, I'm not going to keep it, because there's better stuff to buy from the Kinks. Next up we have a bit of AC/DC with Rocker Burst. This is like a modern AC/DC album from 2014 it was. Yeah, I mean, I think this is for something which is just for the diehard fans, really, isn't it? You know, it's not something that a casual fan would really care much to have. It's just if you particularly love them and want to kind of follow them. But it does have a very cool design on it. Look at that. It's like one of those billboards that moves. I really like that, with the AC/DC stone logo just exploding. Look at that. I do quite like that. But not an album that I need to keep. Is there anything else in here that I can comment on? Oh yeah, found this Pink Floyd best of. Little not even a digipatch, just a little tiny thing. This is the thing with a lot of CDs these days. When I go in record stores, right, I don't feel as inspired to buy CDs if they just come in these just little wallets, you know, these little cardboard wallets. I feel like I'm getting a bit shortchanged with that. I like a digipack, you know. We have a bit of Cream with Live at the Royal Albert Hall. This might be really good, I really don't know. People are probably going to have a go at me for getting rid of it. Sometimes you just got to shift stuff.